In Lansing, Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who is considered a potential candidate for the 2028 presidential election, found herself in an unexpected situation at the Oval Office. She stood awkwardly as President Donald Trump signed executive orders and criticized his political opponents. This occurred shortly after she delivered a speech nearby, where she offered mild criticism of Trump but emphasized shared goals. At the beginning of his remarks, President Trump praised Governor Whitmer, a second-term Democrat, as a very good person who has done an excellent job. This was a notable shift from his previous tone during his first presidency, when Whitmer was one of his strongest critics. She was just a few feet away from Trump's desk when he signed memoranda directing the Justice Department to investigate 2 of his critics and an executive order targeting a law firm whose work he opposed. Whitmer's office later released a statement expressing her surprise at being brought into the Oval Office, clarifying that her presence did not endorse the actions taken or statements made during the event. Governor Whitmer was in Washington to deliver a Build America, Build address, calling for bipartisan cooperation to strengthen American manufacturing. She was at the White House for her second one-on-one meeting with Trump in less than a month to discuss tariffs expected to disproportionately affect Michigan. The state's economy is closely tied to an auto industry reliant on trade with Canada, Mexico, and other countries. Whitmer's approach contrasts with other high-profile Democratic governors, many of whom are also seen as potential contenders for the party's 2028 presidential nomination. However, Whitmer faces a more challenging political landscape than leaders like Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker or California Governor Gavin Newsom, as she represents a state with a divided legislature that supported Trump in 2 of the last 3 elections. Even Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, the Democratic governor of a state that voted for Trump in 2024, has taken a more critical stance toward Trump. He told reporters that Trump is looking to disadvantage our farmers with tariffs. In her speech, which preceded Trump's announcement pausing tariffs in most nations except China, Whitmer highlighted areas of agreement with Trump on tariffs, but criticized their implementation. She stated, "I understand the motivation behind the tariffs, and I can tell you, here's where President Trump and I do agree. We do need to make more stuff in America." However, she added, "I'm not against tariffs outright, but it is a blunt tool. You can't just pull out the tariff hammer to swing at every problem without a clear, defined end goal." Once one of Trump's most vocal critics during his first term, and the campaign trail last year, Whitmer has adopted a more measured tone toward the president since his re-election. She has delivered multiple speeches calling for finding common ground. Whitmer remarked, "If you're not at the table, you're on the menu," emphasizing her commitment to the people of Michigan by showing up even in challenging situations. Colorado's Democratic Governor Jared Polis responded to Whitmer's speech by stating that the tariff hammer she referred to often results in self-inflicted harm rather than solving problems. Polis expressed on social media that tariffs are bad outright because they lead to higher prices and destroy American manufacturing. Pritzker has remained a leading voice of state-level opposition to Trump, sharply criticizing the new tariffs this week. Meanwhile, Newsom appealed directly to international partners, urging them to spare his state from retaliatory measures and declaring, "California is not Washington, D.C." Whitmer emphasized that reindustrialization would take time. Her balanced approach was evident in her address and subsequent conversation with former Fox News anchor Gretchen Carlson. While agreeing with Trump on the need to build more in America, she made it clear that she disagrees with his approach to tariffs. She stressed that such a shift doesn't happen overnight and must be a bipartisan project spanning multiple presidential administrations. "We need to be strategic about tariffs on the technology we actually want to make in America," Whitmer stated. With less than 2 years left in office due to term limits, Whitmer has spent much of this year traveling outside Michigan for international trade trips and visits to Washington, D.C. and other states. Despite this, she reiterated on Wednesday that she is not signaling a run for president in 2028, though her speech is unlikely to quiet speculation. Whitmer concluded by saying, "This year and in the years to come, no matter who's in the White House, we need to be betting on American workers. We need to bring chip manufacturers back home. Let's dominate the seas and the skies and the roads. Let's innovate and let's build."